day, everyone. I am Michelle Angela Habaybay Amo, and today I am going to tell the legend and horror story that people in our barangay believed in. By the way, what is legend? A legend is a traditional story regarded as historical but does not have any factual proof. It is a story from the past that is believed by many people but cannot be proved to be true. So, I have here the legend of the Milag, the Midalag, the fish. The year was 1817. The Milag was a grassy plateau full of wild animals including vast population of snakeheads in Rio de Agusan. One day, a Spaniard commissioned to name all the places he went across the central part of the province of Agusan. Sub-province of Bukidnon came across Lumads who were fishing. When he heard the flock, a Lumad suddenly gave him a snake head or locally known as the lug. Dami in Spanish would means me, my, the lug. From then on, it became the midalag, became conjunct, and became the milag. The midalag, the soil. The milag got its name from the word the midalag. When one day during the Spanish rule in the Philippines, a Spaniard was lost while hunting wild boars and other animals in the area. The Spaniards tried to ask a native settler about the name of the place who was then tending to its kaingin thought that the foreigner was asking what the color of the acidic soil. So he answered, "The lag, senor." So from then on, the place became the Milag, a very rich hunting ground for wild animals. So that is the legend of the Milag. And now we were going to proceed to the horror story. What is a horror story? So a horror story is a story in which the focus is on creating a feeling of fear. Such tales are of ancient origin and form of substantial part of the body of folk literature. They can feature supernatural elements such as ghosts, witches, or vampires, or they can address more realistic psychological fears. Have you ever heard a horror story in your neighborhood or in your places? Or have you ever witnessed something like a ghost? I've heard a lot of creepy stories about that in our barangay. Actually, I remember hearing a crying lady as a child and seeing a shadow boy who was playing with us when I was a child. And I've also seen a large footprints that do not appear to be a normal human size, but rather a giant one. I cannot really sleep well when I was a child as I can remember all the things that I've seen and heard that makes me more afraid, and sometimes I dream about white lady or black lady. And going back to the time when I was sleeping, I remembered when our neighborhood told us that every 2 a.m. there was a lady crying and she was heard it. So at exactly 2 a.m., I think I was 6 years old that time, I heard crying lady beside our house. And we called the house as White House as it was painted as white and there's no one lives there. So we also think that it's a horror house. And I heard a lady crying, and even though I covered my ears with pillows, I could still heard her voice. I was also perplexed as to why my parents couldn't heard her. I could heard her voice every 2 a.m. and I was crying every time. And every afternoon, I see a shadow boy playing with us, especially when we are playing hide and seek. We have a lot of horror stories here in our barangay, the Milag, that the people believed. Um, my tito also told me that he sees a white lady in a big mango tree every 3 o'clock in the morning when he goes to work or returns home. And previously at the Milag Elementary School, now known as the Milag Integrated School, many students were possessed by demons as a result of playing a spirit of the glass and laughing loudly. And I see a lot of alcoholic drinks, cigarettes, and food in a large tree which we called the Santol tree, where we believe in that there's a Capri lives in that tree. The Milagnuns or the Milagnians believed in wakwak, or in Tagalog we called it as aswang, kapre, santelmo, manananggal, white lady and black lady, sigbin, the windy, and many more. So I am very thankful today because I haven't heard anything unusual or seen any creepy faces or shadows. Sometimes I only heard kikik, a large bird, especially when there's a pregnant. And also, sometimes someone will walk into our floor without being noticed. And I'm just pretending that I didn't hear them. The Milag is the largest barangay in the municipality of Manolo Fortich and was once considered as one of the scariest places. Additionally, we have found some evidence of a suicide and a murder and rape. And I believe that most of the sayings, especially those of our ancestors, are true. And I have also heard to someone that there will be someone, or there will be ghost who will call someone or like us to call for a help, and we cannot change the fact that we can hear various horror stories in our places, specifically in our barangay. And instead of making fun of those who believe in ghost stories, legends, and other such things, because we don't know the truth, then we should show respect for them, in contrast to laughing at those who hold beliefs that contribute to an unrestful and troubled world. I think that when we respect one another, there's a peace. And now we're going to proceed to folktale. A folktale is a story passed on by word of mouth, or a legend or myth shared among people of a culture. And now I am going to show you an example of a folktale in our province, which I have already uploaded in YouTube. That was assigned to me by our class president. I can say that it was really a nice story. The story entitled The Flood Story of Bukidnon. Long time ago, there was a very big crab which crawled into the sea. And when he went in, he crowded the water out so that it ran all over the earth and covered all the land. Now about 1 moon before this happened, a wise man had told the people that they must build a large raft. They did as he commanded and cut many large trees until They had enough to make 3 layers. This they bound tightly together, and when it was done, they fastened the raft with a long rattan cord to a big pole in the earth. Soon after this, the flood came. White water poured out of the hills, and the sea rose and covered even the highest mountains. The people and animals on the raft were safe, but all the others are drowned. When the waters went down and the raft was again on the ground, it was near their old home, for the rattan cord had held. But these were the only people left on the whole earth. So, thank you everyone for watching and listening my video about the legend and the horror story which I have experienced before. Thank you so much and God bless us all.